I just love this delicious melt-in-your-mouth dish. Braised pork belly with deep, rich flavors, and it's so simple to make. Yum! Hey everyone, I'm Flo, Dude is behind the camera, and we're all about simple food, simple faith. This dish you can make any time during the week. It's so simple to make, especially if you're running around and picking up kids, dropping off kids, and it's really inexpensive. I bought pork belly for $5.58 a pound, which is quite inexpensive compared to the regular price. I usually see it around $8.99 to $11.99. And pork belly, if you're a little bit like, ooh, I don't know about pork belly, it's bacon, people, just bacon before it's been smoked. I have about 2 pounds of pork belly that I've already cubed into 1-inch pieces, and I've already blanched it in some boiling water for about 10 minutes. I also threw in a bruised piece of ginger in the water just to take away any more of the porky smell and flavor. The reason why we parboil is because it gives the pork a cleaner taste. Parboiling just removes some of the impurities from the meat, but it is not essential. So if you were really strapped for time, just start here. I'm using my electric pressure cooker today. It has a saute mode, so I'm gonna set that on high or more. A very similar recipe can be found in my cookbook, Chinese Homestyle, for Taiwanese braised pork belly, and it's very similar, but this one is so much easier. It's super flavorful also, but it's not as, I guess the one in the cookbook would be more elevated. This one is just a simple meal. I'm also using skinless pork belly, and this particular dish traditionally uses the skin on, but I didn't have it, so I think it'll still be fine without the skin. Maybe not as pretty. Once your pot is hot, add 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil or whatever cooking oil you're using. Just choose a neutral oil. And I have about 2 tablespoons of rock sugar and granulated sugar. I'm using granulated sugar because I completely ran out of the rock sugar. So 2 tablespoons of sugar, whatever you've got. I'm gonna use half of it here because I'm gonna do this in 2 batches. Okay, we're just going to let this melt a little bit in the oil. And then we're going to put in half of our pork. This will help to caramelize and give it some color. I'm going to cook this for about 5 minutes. Try not to overcrowd it so that we can get some good searing on the pork pieces. You see that the pork is getting some really good color on them now. I can flip them. Right, I'm gonna remove them and get the second batch going. And I only just seared like 2 sides of the pork. Okay, adding the remaining sugar. Sorry, lots of fat in here, so you don't need to add more. Just moving that fat around. And we're going to put in the rest of the pork. You can see the brown juices down there is because of the caramelization, and that just adds extra flavor to your dish. And that extra flavor just sets it apart from those dump and go recipes. Right, while that is cooking, I'm going to get the rest of the ingredients ready to go. I have a giant thumb-sized piece of ginger, and this is about 1 ounce, and I'm just going to bruise it. Or you can slice it up and throw it in there. Totally up to you. But I've become quite lazy with the ginger. I'm using a 1/4 cup of Shaoxing wine. Shaoxing wine is a rice wine that you can just get in the supermarkets. If you don't have Shaoxing wine, you can use just another rice wine, probably not mirin, but you can use just regular rice wine, or you can substitute it with a dry sherry. We've been known to use bourbon or whiskey in its place, and it just adds that depth of flavor that you're looking for. Also adding 2 tablespoons of regular soy sauce or light soy sauce. and 1 tablespoon of dark soy sauce. The dark soy sauce here is important because this is what gives the color to the recipe. But if you didn't have it, just use another tablespoon of soy sauce. Dark soy sauce is important because it adds to the color of this dish, but even if you didn't have it, it would still be very tasty. The Chinese name for this dish is Hong Xiu Yo, and the red actually comes from, Hong means red, the red actually comes from like the coloring of the meat. And so every region in China has their own version of Hong Xiu Yo. So this is just a simple version compared to, I guess, the Taiwanese one that I have in the cookbook is a more complicated one because it has a whole bunch of additional ingredients, but it also makes it way more complex in flavor. During that last minute of cooking of the second batch, I'm just gonna toss my ginger in there, get that just cooked a little bit before I throw in the rest of the meat. Okay, I'm just gonna dump in the rest of the meat from before, the pre-cooked meat. And now I'm adding my sauce. Turning off the saute. Put on the lid, locking it into place. Making sure that sealing knob is on sealing. And we're going to high pressure for 30 minutes. That is it. So super simple, right? The reason why I love using the pressure cooker for this type of recipe is because it just gets everything done. I don't have to watch it on the stove for braising for a long period of time, especially when we have errands to run or and we don't know how long we're going to be gone for. We can just kind of leave it. So it's been sitting here for about an hour. I know that the pin dropped probably around 10 minutes. And now we'll just open it up and see what we've got. All right, it doesn't look great at the moment, but we're gonna get some more of that sauce into the meat. But right now I'm just going to skim off the fat because there's so much of it. If you look at the bottom pieces, they're already like that rich brown color. And I don't know how much fat we're actually gonna get in to remove here. We'll try to remove some of it. Oh yeah, there's some fat. I'm going to turn the saute mode on again to high or more. And we're going to allow the sauce to kind of absorb into the meat. And it'll just give it that rich color and a glossy sheen to the sauce as well. Taking out this piece of ginger. All right, so once it starts to boil, just move your meat around so that all the pieces get nicely colored. It'll take about 5 minutes or so, maybe less. It's been about 4 to 5 minutes. I'm gonna cancel. You wanna take a look, dude?
Oh, the color,
yeah,
gorgeous.
So you can hear that the sauce has reduced and all the meat is colored, and I've been moving the meat around so that it gets a lot of cover on all sides. And we're gonna remove this and put it in a serving bowl. Oh my goodness, serve this with some greens, some Chinese greens and rice, and it is a full meal deal. All right, do you see how glossy that is? I'm gonna garnish it with some green onions that I've chopped up. And that is it. Are you all ready for?
Oh, yes. The taste. I don't know, Flo. This isn't gonna last long when the kids, when we all sit down for dinner.
I know, but that's like 2 pounds of meat, dude.
And it cooked down into
that much.
True.
So I'll make more veggies.
Yes, eat more veg. Not necessarily more rice, eat more veg. That's what my grandma would have said to me. The aroma, so good. I know that there's not a whole lot of sauce compared to the other pork belly dishes. The sauce is concentrated and you can see it's worked its way into the meat. Awesome color. Oh, so much good flavor. Hot rice. Some veg on the side, so good. The pork is soft and tender. And importantly with pork belly, that the fat is rendered well. It's not blobby, if you know what I mean. The fat melts in your mouth. Dude, so good. Yum, yum.
Thanks, dude. When you want delicious food and make your dollars stretch, this is the recipe to try. For more simple recipes, check out my cookbook and how to make Chinese greens. I will see you over there.